Right, well, I've had a good night's sleep and here we are back at Rosslare Europort, and today I'm going to be getting the Irish Ferry to Pembroke Dock. So I have been from here over to Fishguard with Stena, so this is my first time with Irish Ferries, so looking forward to trying them out. One of the things is, looking on the weather report, it looks like there's going to be very strong winds coming up in the next couple of hours or so, so it might be a bit hairy out there, but hey, I've got my woolly hat on and I've got an extra layer on, so we should still get some deck time. So I've got 20 minutes before check-in closes, so let's just get in there, do that, and then just settle down and wait to get on this ferry. Check-in is a very simple affair for me, as the UK and Ireland have a common travel area for all their citizens. So I get my boarding pass and then I just have to wait. The terminal is just about sufficient for travellers, and it's interesting to note that Europort is part of Irish Rail, hence the logo here. The Stena ferry is due to leave just before us, and so when we're called through, there aren't very many of us left. Oh, and if you have luggage, you can just chuck it in the trailer right there. Both the minibus and the trailer will be crossing the sea with us this morning. And we have to pass around all the new building work that is there to provide for extra docks and new terminals for both passengers and customs. And once round, we spy our ferry, which is the MS Isle of Innisfree. Now, this ship has been with Irish Ferries since being bought from DFDS in 2021, although it's had a very long life already, initially being delivered in 1991 to operate the Ostend to Dover route for Belgian Line RMT. And in we go, and as you can see from the car decks at this level at least, it's pretty empty. And so we do a lap before coming to a stop right near the stairs. It's a pretty easy climb up to the passenger deck, but I'll go a bit further because, hey, we've got to get outside and say goodbye to Rosslare. Well, here we are on board, and oh boy, it looks very grim out there. I think I'm on the good side of the boat already, but we'll go around the other side just to watch me getting blown around. But yeah, I quite like all the new building. I definitely have to come back and leave Rosslare one more time so that we can check out when they've completed all the new terminal and all the new customs. I do like leaving Rosslare, I don't know why, but it's just a friendly place when you spend that night beforehand and then just get up at a reasonable time and get on the boat. So, of course, next time, maybe I'll leave here and go somewhere overnight. So, that might not happen. Oh, blimey, yeah, I can feel the wind whipping around this boat. Shall we go to the other side and laugh at me getting blown around? There's also quite a lot of rain being whipped about by the wind too. But you know what? I'm up for it. Right, are we ready for this? Let's go around this corner. Oh boy. It's actually a really nice deck out here. Just trod in a puddle. On a nice day, this would be lovely. In fact, it's pretty nice now. Mind you, I've got my hat on, and under here I've got my winter base layer that I wear when we're playing American football in the hail and the snow. So I should be okay. Oh, one thing though, I haven't had breakfast, so once we pull away, then it's definitely going to be time to top up the insides with a bit of breakfast. Well, this might be a nice spot to stand when we get going. And pretty much spot on 8:45, our ferry begins to back off the dock. Once clear of the dock, it will go forwards out of the port. You know, these are always cool moments as the land begins to fall away, and you know you're heading out on a voyage across the sea. She's swung around and the main propellers can kick in now, and we can slide out of the port on our way. Well, the first thing the ship does is turn quite sharply to starboard, and that creates a wonderful water cascade from the sun decks above. Right, so we're underway, and it's a bit noisy here, but we're underway, and right, the plan is, let's get some breakfast, then we'll have a little wander around the ship. Well, breakfast was expensive and fairly average, but at least it hit the spot. So with that done, let's have a wander around the ship, and then maybe after that take another break for a coffee. Most of the passenger services are on deck 7, so we start amidships at Boylan's Brasserie, which is where I had my breakfast. Then we walk forwards into the Lafayette Cafe and Lounge area. The Lafayette is right at the front, so we can watch the waves crashing over the bow. There's a lot of comfortable seating here, so it's quite popular with our admittedly very few passengers. And on the other side of the brasserie is a sad little gaming area, but that's not something that interests me too much anyway. And then the corridor does a zigzag past the Freight Drivers Club, which doesn't appear open today. And at the very rear is the duty-free shop with its usual choice of alcohol, tobacco, perfume, chocolates and, you know, general tat. Outside the shop is the reception and a lovely little row of old telephone booths. Yes, kids, I reckon that's what they were back in the day. So let's climb the main staircase up to deck 8. And we get to the deck 8 lounge, which with the dimmed lighting is probably a handy place to catch up on some sleep if you need to do that. And well, Friday morning it's a bit early for a beer, and anyway, O'Flaherty's bar at the rear here, it's all taped off. Incidentally, the ship is well served with lots of toilets on each deck level. If we continue upwards to deck 9, we should find us at the portal of the club class lounges. But what I need now is a coffee. Well, the coffee was okay. And sitting here gave me a chance to see again just how tired this old 1991 ship is becoming. Righto, let's see what the weather is doing out there. And there's a handy door just behind the shop. Well, it could be a whole lot worse up here. Nice and protected. My favourite spot here underneath. Big shout if you're on this ferry, come and stand here. Absolutely lovely, even in bad weather like today. Of course, the edit team and voiceover man will have done more research than me and will be talking about how old this ship is, but certainly when you're on it, it definitely feels very tired compared to the competitor over on Stena. So I think I'd probably travel Stena if I had the choice or the need to do this journey again, but that isn't to say I haven't enjoyed it so far, even in quite rough weather and watching the waves crashing over the bow at the front. Certainly people sitting in the lounge at the front near the Lafayette coffee bar, you can definitely feel that's so much more up and down, and I certainly preferred being sat more amidships when I was relaxing for the last hour or so. Not a lot for it really. We've had a little tour of the ship and now we're just going to cruise on into Pembroke Dock. The route comes up to Pembroke Dock up through Milford Haven and up the estuary, so there should be quite a few things to see once we get tucked away in there out of the main body of the sea. But right now, yeah, I think it's just time to chill out for another 45 minutes, about an hour, and then we'll be much closer to land. It's worth talking prices because I think this is where Stena really scores for me. My single fare with Irish Ferries was €41.50, whilst the sailing from Stena that left 30 minutes earlier would have cost just slightly more. Except with Stena you can get a combined sail rail ticket. For example, going all the way home from Rosslare to Exeter would cost me a total of under 60 quid, and that price would be the same if I was going as far as somewhere like Newcastle. I've seen landfall now and we'll ride this ship into port right through Milford Haven. The first thing I think I see is the island of Stockholm and its lighthouse. It's quite a modern one too. And when we get to St Anne's Head Lighthouse, it feels like this marks the entrance to the Sound. Hopefully the sea will calm down a little bit now. Beyond St Anne's is the West Blockhouse Fort that was constructed to defend Milford Haven, mostly from Napoleonic France. Thorn Island Fort was part of the same defences as the West Blockhouse. In total there were 12 forts built to protect Milford Haven. And here's another fort at Stack Rock. But then we see the first oil and gas terminal. And I must say that's what I think of when I think of Milford Haven. And just off Gelliswick Bay, a liquid bulk carrier appears to be offloading. On the south side there's more ships berthed alongside Valero Energy's Pembroke storage and refinery complex. And I also cross back to look north to see the actual town of Milford Haven. But to the south the tall towers of the refinery reach up into the low clouds. We're not far from Pembroke Dock now, and that inlet there actually leads through to Pembroke itself. And finally we swing past Llanstadwell and Neyland on the north shore before the final turn into the Pembroke Dock harbour. The old naval dockyards at Pembroke Dock were in use between 1814 and 1926, when the Admiralty finally closed the facility. However, by the time it was closed, it had already built 263 Royal Navy vessels and also 5 royal yachts. The town of Pembroke Dock was effectively a new town, being built to house the workers of what was then the new Admiralty shipyards. And I shall leave it to the very last minute to rejoin the minibus. Let's just watch this docking process. Right, I'm a bit late, so I'd better run downstairs or I'm going to miss my bus. Well, I thought I'd come into the terminal building here at Pembroke Dock just to have a look really and use the toilet, and yeah, it's got a period feel to it. Not sure what period it would be. The period of absolutely no architectural ability. Anyway, yes, it's a bit of a blast from the past, but it's the whole thing is it really, isn't it? Not only the terminal here, but also the ferry itself. The way it connects at the end and everything feels all very old-fashioned. So I'm really pleased that I had a chance to go on that ferry actually, because the running through Milford Haven, just so beautiful. Sadly it wasn't a blue sky kind of day, but even with it being so miserable, it was still lovely to drift in past all the different things that Milford Haven has to offer. Right, now I'm going to go for a walk and try to find Pembroke Dock Station, and then I'll continue my journey eastwards. But in the meantime, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little trip from Rosslare to Pembroke Dock. As Johnny says, thank you so much for watching, and also for all the lovely comments you leave on my videos, including all the helpful corrections when I go wrong. They are very much appreciated. So, I shall leave you here as I make my way through the grey light of Pembroke Dock. Oh, and if you want to follow all my Irish adventures, there's a playlist right here.